Hey guys and gals and everyone in between, welcome back to Let's Take a Spin. We have a great guest, a friend of the pod, a friend in the Philly community, Philly music community, and the Philly drum community is the incredible Keaton Thandi. He's just remarkable. And what do I mean by remarkable? He plays for everyone. He plays for, to be frank, Ellison Jackson, the Dawn Drapes when they were around. He's played for Snack Time, who are now the house band for Jason Kelsey's show on ESPN. He's played for Lady HD, and he also plays for Michael Kublicki of Uprooted, who was in the band Rusted Root. Like, it's this guy, and he also plays for Suge Daniels. He plays for everybody. The list is long. But he also has been putting out his own music under his own name, and it's fantastic. He does it all himself. The recording, the mixing, he does all the artwork, he does all the video work, he does all this stuff. He's insane. Keaton is the man, and he kind of brings us along in his process, in his songwriting process, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Please make sure you check out robtait.net for all my dates that are coming up. We'll be at Armour Music Hall on January 26th for Rock and Roll Playhouse. My band will be coming in, and we'll be doing the music of Bruce Springsteen. I've been reading a lot about Mr. Springsteen. We'll rereading this book. So good. And we'll be doing about an hour of tunes. And then on February the 20th, we will be at Punjab, which is in Media, which is a great Indian spot, and we'll be playing music there, and it's going to be fantastic. And I got a bunch more dates coming out. I just have to wait until I make sure I have the whole schedule so I don't, have anything wrong. But anyway, we have a great podcast today. It's Keaton Thandi. Check it out. Your room is cool, though. I like is that a real, I forget what those are called. Those plants?
A pothos.
What is that plant called?
That's a big pothos. That's going all over. Then there's an air plant there that's like a spider plant, I suppose. But like I have all of these spider plants that are all like from that one, like constantly going off.
Just constantly creating new ones.
Love the plants. Yeah. I
love that,
Germantown.
man.
You live out here too, right? You're in Mount Airy, Germantown area.
I'm actually out in West Philly.
West Philly now.
Yeah. So cool. I love Germantown. I love it out where you live with that whole crew. But I'm out here with my wife in West Philly, and nice. We're looking to buy a place out there.
I love West Philly, man. West Philly is great. But yeah, same thing. Lots of big windows, lots of light. Gotta have the plants.
Oh my God, yeah. But our place doesn't have that much that many windows, just because it's like a row home, and it has like two windows in the front, and of course it has like a a roof, so it extends, so there's no real sunlight coming in the house. So we've even threatened to get one of those giant the fake lights that create vitamin D. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And just put it right in the middle of the living room. Like, screw it.
I love it, dude. I say go for it.
Yeah, but my wife is great with plants. She used to be the black thumb in our family. She finally figured out like what her issue was, and she's finally creating some really nice plants.
Love that.
Yeah, but dude, I'm so happy that you had some time to hop on to this little podcast of mine. How are you, man?
Me too, man. I really appreciate you having me on. I'm doing great.
Sick.
How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Just today was a whirlwind of a day, and it's nice to end it with a friend. It's just been bananas. Yesterday, one of my other jobs is taking care of landscaping for my buddy's company for a bunch of his buildings, and I got a flat out on Lincoln Ave.
No.
Yeah, so I had to drive to the next exit on Lincoln Ave and then go up a hill with the flat, and it was
not a good day, dude. That's not a good place for a flat.
No, it was not, but it's okay. It's a really good story now, and I couldn't get the tire off. Had a culture. It was AAA. It was a whole thing.
Oh man, you had a whole day, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, hey, it happens to everybody. I'm sure you've got some nightmare stories.
I have indeed, and fortunately today was a pretty chill one. So you take what you can get.
100%. But I don't know about you. I just have bad luck with cars in general.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I've had a couple strings of good luck, but this previous car that I've had, it's also the newest car that I've ever gotten. So I was like, yeah, I just had problem after problem after. I just keep dropping money into it.
What was it, or is it? I don't know if you still have it.
A transmission thing, and then some leak here, and then new brake pads, and then it's just cars. They're just expensive. And you're the same way as I am. You gig all the time, and you're out on the road all the time working and stuff. So it's we put our miles on them,
And from one multi-instrumentalist to another, you can't not have it. It's impossible. And you travel with way more than I ever will, like percussion, drums, keyboards, like
a lot of gear.
lot of gear. Like, I'm surprised that like one of us hasn't like got. Well, actually, I know somebody who's trying to create like a cartage company. Say, screw it, somebody just take the gig.
I've had friends, I've had a couple of friends rent gear from time to time, but it's like I like my gear. I like bringing it to gigs. Even when I backline my drum set, I'm always like so happy that I'm playing my drums. It's such a pain in the butt to get them there, but then you get the thanks from the sound guy, and all the other drummers are appreciative, and it's like
Oh my God.
It's worth the haul sometimes.
It is, because then you don't end up on like one of those crappy $300 like cocktail.
Who knows what that somebody dumped like $100 into like 8 years ago.
Yeah, they got it on Facebook Marketplace and they just put new heads on it and called it a day.
Yep, they like asked the bartender who like played drums when he was a kid what they should do. You know.
Yeah. And
what do we do with this thing, man?
In fact, do you remember that meme that went around for a while that was like, yeah, we have backline drums, and the drums are all like off to the side.
Dude, one of the worst experiences of my life with one of those was I was doing a showcase for Matador Records from when I was like 16. So I was super excited. All my favorite bands are on this record. Like, we go to do this thing, and it was that sort of a house kit situation where like they had a floor tom with a head on it, but the bass drum head was broken. So I like turned the floor tom on the side and like put my jacket over it and like hooked up a Jimmy rigged a kick pedal to it. I had a kick snare. And then I had like, just like broken hardware. It was like, but at that time in my young life, I was like, this is such an important gig. The drums don't work, like.
But you made it work. You had like a nightmare scenario. You made it work.
It worked great. It was fun.
I think my worst case scenario was showing up and no snare stand in the house gig. That's
kit. An important one.
Yeah, that. And then the cymbal stands didn't have any protective sleeves.
No.
I think this was New York even. Like, it was like downtown. It might have been Rockwood. I can't remember.
In peace.
R.I.P. Yeah.
Rest in peace.
They tried too. They tried to just close the two.
Cymbal sleeves aside.
I mean, look, it was a good room, but like, and it did always have good people in it, but man, those drums were hard. Those drums had seen some stuff.
I mean, imagine how many people play. I played gigs there where they were like shuffling us in and out before and after the gig. Like, they had like 8 gigs there in one night, So it's like, imagine how many drummers played those drums over the years, I mean,
and like, even if you do, let's be conservative. Let's say 5 drummers a night, multiply that 4 nights a week. What's that? 20 a week, 20 times 50 is over 200, over 300 drummers. Like, that's insane.
Drums are getting abused.
Oh, 100%. And they're not changing the heads. They're totally dead just by wear and tear. They're just like, we're not buying new heads every 3 months. This is ridiculous.
They had a grand piano at Rockwood? So the grand piano, the first time I found out about it, it was above me. They had it like on the lift.
I didn't know they had a lift.
Yeah, they had it on like a lift so they could get it up so that it was off the stage. So it was like, somebody was like, there's a grand piano here. I was like, no, there's not. They're like, look above you, dude. it was like, that's some New York stuff, we don't.
Oh my God,
we're not hanging Steinways from the piano and from the ceiling in Philly,
No, but I can just see like an Al Kabong situation, just like somebody's in the middle of a bass solo or drum solo. But here, real quick, I do want to say I'm so psyched you're on, because I want to start with this, which is I'm gonna brown nose a little bit, which is,
oh, come on,
you are amazing in the sense of like, you play with everybody, and I will admit, before we met, I was like, son of a bitch plays with everybody. I'm so jealous. But you're also one of the kindest, most warmest people I've ever met in my life. So it's just like, I can't even be mad at him anymore. But I will say this, which is, on top of everything else, you put out 2 stellar singles, and I know there's more in the can. But they're phenomenal. In fact, the newest one that you just put out, A Change Is Gonna Come, like, the whole beginning is just like, this is the Beatles. This is like modern Beatles. Like,
thanks, man.
Because you also play flute and you do all the synthesizer stuff. It's amazing.
Man, thank you, Rob. Thanks so much, dude.
It is so good. And correct me if I'm wrong, all the production's all you, right?
Yeah, played everything, produced it all, and mixed it. And then I have my friend Ian. Ian Bennett is his name, who's been mastering everything for me. He's an old friend that I've known through another collaborator that I worked with over the years. And other than that, just like you said, just trying to keep things in the can, just churning them out. And I've been sitting on that one for quite some time, but decided to put it out and put the wheels in motion.
Why now?
It's, as I'm sure you know, and it's funny, I was actually listening to Sophie's podcast before this that you did with her, and records take a long time, man. That stuff takes a lot of work, and there's obviously the financial burden of, regardless of if you're doing it yourself, gear costs money. Being a multi-instrumentalist, all those synthesizers, you got to buy that, and then you have to, and you have to figure, and then you spend weeks learning reductive synthesis and how to make a patch just so you can like get a thing that you want, and so things take time. The thing that's taken me the longest with all the production stuff has been the mixing and kind of figuring out that side of things, which I remember you and I talking pretty heavily about last time we spoke in person. There's so many good mixing engineers around, but when I first started producing, I didn't realize how much power that person has, how creative that role is. And so that was the main hang up, is like, trying to figure out how to mix things, how to work, and also in that, I feel like your own voice is always, you've recorded yourself too, I'm sure you've experienced, it's like nobody likes hearing their own voice. So navigating the mixing process with your own voice and figuring out that took some time. I'm coming to the end of a lot of projects that I'm kind of wrapping with other people that I've been producing. And so I had a lot more experience with getting their voices to where I wanted to get them and getting productions over the finish line. And just decided to make the push, and went for it, got it as good as I think it's going to get. And, there's a great, I forget who I was listening to, another one of these like engineering podcasts. There's one that I listen to called Recording Studio Rockstars, but they say, mix is never done. It's only abandoned. And at a certain point, it's not going to get better. It's just going to be different. So there was the time. I've been sitting on it for too long. I have so many other songs and so many other things that it felt like it's like kind of clogging up the pipes more than anything else. And the newer stuff that I'm working on is like, obviously I still love the Beatles, and that will always be the highest compliment to me. It has some other influences and stuff too. So I wasn't like kind of hung up on like, well, I need to like, I just wanted to get it out and keep putting some more things out. I'm trying to be a little bit more, open to just pushing more things out and letting them do their own thing.
Mm-hmm. Like letting it be out of your hands, live its own life.
Yeah.
Like you do, like, this is as far as I can take it. Here you go. And then it's out of your hands.
Yeah.
I respect that so much. But you said something that's fascinating, which is that like you get it to a certain point, which you do it all yourself. So hearing your own voice, learning how to, well, you know how to record, but like mixing yourself and doing all of that while putting it like all your own stuff out and pushing yourself like it has to go out. Like did you set a deadline, I'm guessing, for all of these? Like this has to go out?
No, it was like, I'm working on a record right now with a really good friend of mine, Justin Pelliccia. The band's called Automatic Love. So we put out a couple songs last year, and that project, this song, like 3 other projects that I'm on, I kind of put like a loose deadline around like, cool, new year, I got to start working on some of these other things and looking towards some of these other projects. So with some people who I'm working with clients, I pushed their stuff through, and I was just kind of on this tear of getting to the finish line. So yeah, I guess to your point, yes, like a loose deadline, but not like it needs to be out here or, and same with the music video. I'm making the music video right now, which is a whole nother art and process to learn and program to learn. Same thing with that. It's like, I want it to be out in the next month or two.
What do you do with the music video? Can we hear?
Yeah, it's cool. I did I'm trying to keep things like low budget and fun and keep it also in the world of like, for me, I love visuals. I love old cinematography. I love art. I love taking photos. I love taking videos. So it's basically a bunch of different shots layered on top of each other of like fall Wissahickon scenic views and maybe some images of me as well in there. Kind of psychedelic, kind of swirly, kind of more like visualizer to the song than like a narrative, like I come meet you at the coffee shop and we go to it's more like, it's more like a visualizer, I would say.
Who does a really good job with that is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with their work, like Ray LaMontagne's son did a lot of stuff like that for his last record, and it's beautiful if you can like nail it right, like getting the lighting and just like little stuff on a desk moving, or like you're saying, like Wissahickon, like nature shots.
Totally. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with his work, but I definitely need to check that out. It's the making, like doing the film editing and all that stuff is a lot newer to me, but it's really fun. All this, again, it's creative and fun. And
well, yeah, you did a really nice job on that clip you did. I'm not sure if you did it with plastic now that I can't remember, but like where it's like 5 of you or 4 or 5 of you.
Yeah, that was plastic.
That was plastic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your last single, and like you did an amazing job. I've always wondered how people do that. Did you have to? Again, this is behind the curtain stuff, so sorry, buddy.
Final cut. Hey, final cut tutorial with Keaton Thandi here. Welcome to.
No, this is a genuine question. So, did you like green screen behind you and place yourself in the room, or did you have to like segment the room, and then like you're gonna go like left and then body here, body here, body here? Is that how you did it?
So more the latter. Yeah, it's like you have to kind of pre-production, set up your camera where it's going to be, leave the camera in the same exact place. So you need a tripod, and then it's like, kind of stage where the things are going to be. And the way it works is you use something called masking. So you're just like taking a bit of each of those shots, and you're layering each of a bit of those shots over each other. But if you shoot it in the same space, then it looks like one gigantic shot.
Mm.
the thing that I learned, and like I started going like a kind of psychedelic route with that video too, was out of just like, I set up the shot the best I thought it was, but like sometimes I was like head banging and my head would go out of frame. So I'd like lose the front of my face for a second or something. So anyway, just learning. Similarly, I was like, I've always wondered how they do those. I played all the instruments on this. That would be a fun video to try to conjure together. And yes, I just figured out how to do it, and it was cool. It took me a while, but I learned got some Final Cut chops together, and now applying it to a different project. And it's all fun, and it's all an extension. I try to just make it more of an extension of the music and the art, as opposed to like thinking of it as something that I have to post on Instagram or something, or if I get caught up in that, then I get depressed, and I'm like, would rather work on music. But if I feel like I'm making something cool and fun and extensive of the music, then it's a lot easier for me.
Right, you can chop up the art that way and be like, here, but it's not made for the content machine.
Right.
I like that a lot. In fact, you're speaking my language. I've been kind of stuck in that rut for a second, just being like putting stuff out on Instagram or what have you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And
it's hard, man. And it's also like people respond to it. I just put out the song, and more people are going to listen to it if I make a post about it. So I got, you got to play ball, but you also want to be, you're Rob and I'm Keaton. We're, so you want to still be true to that and what it is that you want to make, and not let the art suffer for the sake of this thing, So
well, I will say
that's the challenge.
What's amazing with you, and I don't have this, you definitely do, is you're not afraid to adventure into, well, I don't know how this works, let me figure it out. Like, I definitely have reservations in that department, but you're so brave and like, screw it, we're going to make it messy, and then like, it's going to come out awesome. Like, every time, Keaton, I see you put out something, and I'm just like, son of a bitch did it again.
Oh, man.
Like everything you've put out, even like clips, but the stuff you did with Brittany Ann Trambaugh and Joe Plowman was fantastic. I've heard some, and it's just, I love how adventurous you are, and you go into that void, very brave. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, it's like I said, I just try to always have that sort of like, I love learning stuff. I'm very childlike in my spirit, and like love, like it's fun. You just have to remember that it's fun. As soon as you start getting bogged down in the, because the reality is I didn't get into playing drums and playing music so I could sit in front of a computer for 12 hours a day. I didn't. Do I like working in Logic every day? It's not my favorite program in the world, but like, do I like making music? Of course, so it's like, that's just a means to getting the thing. If I get bogged down in the minutia of what it is that I'm working in, then it's super tedious. But if I can just get to the other side of like, I'm just trying to make a song, I got to mess with these knobs so that the song sounds good, or, I got to, figure out how to shoot these videos. It's also one of these things where like, it's the marathon mentality of like, I'm not going to shoot one video and then it's going to be over. Yeah, the more I can learn, and the more I can like have fun with it, the more that I feel like I can also like put my stamp on it and have it be more expressive of the music. Not that I don't love collaborating with, a million great cinematographers. Bob Sweeney, I've done some awesome videos with. My friend Kirby Cyber. Kirby's amazing. What's our homie from Houseplants making just like unbelievable green screen videos? You know what I mean? So there's people who crush it. It's not that there isn't, and it's the same with mixing. It isn't that there isn't great engineers around. It's just that, like, I'm trying to explore. I'm reaching for something. I'm trying to explore. And maybe for this phase, it's going to be a little messy. Again, with that marathon mentality, it's like in 10 years, hopefully I've figured out some of this stuff, and it's not as maybe it won't take me 12 hours to make that edit, next time.
I do want to clarify. I didn't mean that what you're putting out is messy. No, I didn't mean that. I meant that like being aware that like I'm going to do it regardless of what comes out.
No, totally.
Okay.
I understood. The process might be messy, but the product, we have an eyes on what the product wants to be, and we're gonna get there.
Exactly. But with the music, like you describe, like a lot of the artists that you're tagged up with, especially on the algorithms or whatever, are like psychedelic bands like King Gizzard and like modern bands like that. Is that kind of the route that you're planning on going, or is there something that you're kind of aiming for? I'm just curious.
Man, it's really interesting, Rob. I really struggle with this because I grew up, guitar was my first instrument. I grew up playing guitar and in like Blink-182, Green Day, Nirvana bands, and was singing and started playing drums. And once I like got a taste of playing drums, I was like, I love this song. This is my favorite thing in the world. And so I've always been, I studied jazz in school, been to Cuba and Brazil studying Brazilian music and Afro-Cuban music. And I love so many different things. And, my first cassette was Bad by Michael Jackson. Like that's always, you know what I mean? Like my dad showing me Court of the Crimson King when I was younger and just like sitting here listening to records. This is all these records. So like there's so much influence, and a lot of what we're forced to do now is to try to package our thing into like, people consume things that are presentable and that they can understand. So we're trying to figure it out. But this project, like my own project in particular, I've been trying to relieve myself of any sort of like preconceived notions, especially from the production zone. I have tons of instruments. I'd be remiss if I didn't try the idea. So like I just try stuff. I throw paint at the wall, like you said, and that sort of, it's a little messy, and then we peel it back and we see what sticks and what makes sense. And so right now it's kind of all over the place, man. There's synth stuff, there's like Afro-Cuban beats, there's like Indian hand drums, there's like, and then there's this song, which is a lot more like driving, four to the floor, sort of folky, but also, yeah, like indie psych sort of thing too. So like, yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to like make the stuff I'm hearing, and it's cool that I like all those bands. Those are all bands that I'm fond of, and particularly the production. Like I do love like large production style, like Tame Impala and King Gizzard, and like love like Fat Records. They sound cool. So yeah, all of that's cool. I love being associated. That all makes me thrilled to be associated with. But yeah, I wouldn't say I have too many plans for the like. I think I'll let people figure out where they want to place me and dig it or not dig it.
Yeah, you're making the art for the sake of the art, but not for like I'm doing it because I want to head in this direction. It's just what's naturally. Your curiosity is pointing your direction.
Right. And some of them are like, you start a song and you're like, cool, I know where this is going to go. And it's like, it goes right there. And then you start a song and you're like, I know where this is going to go. And you're like, there's no drums. There's no drums. Mm-hmm. I'm a drummer. There's no drums. It doesn't need it, But
or those are the best drummers. Those are the best drummers when they know, like, doesn't need it.
Yep.
I don't need to be on it.
Yep.
That's the best. When you know, like, the song is done. I don't need to play anything and the song is done. That means you're the shit. You're
listening. You're listening. You're not.
Yeah.
You're playing music. You're not just playing the drums at that point, right? You're playing the song.
Yeah. In fact, I have a track on my last record called "At the End of the World," which we were planning on putting drums on, and then we recorded it with me on guitar, and we did it live at Retro City Studios, and it didn't need it. It didn't need any overdubs of drums. It was just like I might add a cymbal. I think I even added like one or two cymbal swells, but they're so low in the mix you wouldn't know that they were there.
Nice. Yeah, felt not heard sort of vibe.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I love that stuff. But yeah, but another thing that's interesting about the two tunes that you put out, and I'm excited to hear the rest, but they're both interesting commentary songs, which I thought was fascinating. I don't know if that was intentional. Like Plastic is talking about, like, for what I heard was just like fake people or just fake processes, things like that. And, a change is going to come. It's even in the title. It's kind of right there. But when I went to school, they were like, 90% of all tunes that are put out are all about love songs. And you're like, no, they don't need to be that way. And I find that fascinating. I didn't know if that was like intentional or if that's just the way you write.
Sorry, say that last part one more time. You're saying when you went to school, I lost connection there for a second.
No, it's okay. When I went to school, they had a class about the economics of music business. And they said like 90% of all songs are all about love songs or love songs or whatever.
Ah, right.
And so, but I found it fascinating that both tracks that you've put out are both like more socio commentary. And I didn't know if that was like something you're really into as a lyricist.
Yeah, I would say that is something that I'm very into. Yeah, I feel like there's I love the Beatles so much, and I love all of them. But something I really love and admire about John is his ability to just say stuff, man. That guy said some stuff in his songs. And there's no filter. It's so raw and it's so beautiful. And there's a David Bowie quote talking to Lennon. And he's like, man, your songs are just so great. And, how do you get such raw stuff? And he's like, say what you mean, put it to a backbeat and make a rhyme. That's it, So it's like.
It's just that simple.
It's that simple, man. That's the Lennon method, And if it works for him and it worked for Bowie, then like, what are we doing, So the other side to that is another quote, to quote another idols of mine, but The Clash. There's a great Clash quote where they're like, you guys are writing all these songs, they're all like very political, like you guys don't write any love songs, like what's that about? And Joe Strummer just looks at it, he just goes, the topic's covered.
It's definitely been covered.
There's enough love songs. That was his answer, And it's like, it's not that I don't have love songs too, and I have more personal songs, but yeah, particularly those two songs. I mean, Plastic's like, yeah, there's a lot of like anger about gun violence and people being, plastic. It's about plastic people, So it's like, it is, again, very on the title and very like on the nose. But yeah, I think we have Listen, I think people can write songs about whatever they're feeling is ultimately it. So like, maybe I feel a lot of like grand things about the way the world is right now. And I like to try to put that into my writing. I think, again, it varies from song to song. And I love artists who do that, but I also like, one of my other favorite artists is Andy Schaaf, and his stuff, like he's using people's names, he's like writing songs about people's names. And like, so it's like, couldn't be more personal and still somehow is representative. Like you still feel the whole story. So yeah, I think it's something that I've been interested in for a long time. I've been in lots of bands. You have too. We've all played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of songs. So yeah, especially with my first couple songs, I was like, I think I want to like try to, say something that I think and see how it goes.
I think you hit the nail on the head, man. I think that the reason I brought it up, it was so refreshing and it was great. I love that you spelled out plastic at the end and kind of make it interactive with an audience. I've never seen you perform these live. I'm sure that it gets more involved when you do that song live. Does it?
It's
like
coming
people
along.
Doing
the live thing's interesting, man. So it's like previously I was doing a solo thing where I was doing a lot of foot pedal SPDSX, like I had like 6 different pedals under my feet, and then I had 2 keyboards. And so the last show that I did, I had Phil Conine play drums with me, which was awesome, man. It was so great. And I was standing, and I love Phil too, amazing drummer, great, awesome dude too, just such a sweetheart. And so that freed up some stuff, and that definitely opened the door to what the future would look like of the live performance. But yeah, I'd say especially as these songs, that's the other thing with putting stuff out, right? It's like nobody can get behind your stuff and dig, nobody's singing "Get Back to the Wishing" until they hear the song, so it's like until you get the thing out there, people don't have it, to enjoy and to know why they should come out. So that's the other reason I'm just trying to push out a bunch of stuff and keep working on.
I love it.
Thanks, Rob.
Everything you put out is great. And I'm really curious because it sounds like you're really well read. Do you read a ton these days, like bios? I'm guessing.
I am like I'm a big nerd of a guy, a self-proclaimed nerd.
No, not a nerd. You're curious.
It's all different things, man. It's all they're all words, but it's always I've just been obsessed. I just get obsessed with things, and I just like dig at them until I know as much as I please about them. And so particularly in the like rock history and like 60s, 70s, like all those, like I've just been obsessed with those guys since I was like 13. I've been like thought John Lennon was the coolest guy ever since I was like 13, and then like I read the book, Cynthia Lennon's autobiography, where he's like not that great of a guy, and I was like, oh my god, this guy, it's like there's very interesting things about, you learn interesting things about the music by learning about these people, and who they were, and ultimately they're all just people. So I've definitely read my fair share of like biographies and stuff, and I have a book actually of the Beatles that's called, I forget what it's called. It might just be called A Day in the Life or something like that, but it's like a Beatles diary, it's called. And it's like their day-to-day itinerary of what they did for the entire existence of the years of the Beatles.
Whoa.
It'd be like John and George dropped acid and went to, like the park, and Ringo and Paul it's just like all these details about their lives and stuff. And it's really interesting, even in that way, to just think that like in the middle of Let It Be, like they just like effed off for a couple of days and just like took a break, Good reminder sometimes for people like us who are just like in the weeds trying to do 150 things, and you got to go do this podcast, you got to go to work, you got to do this, and it's like good reminder to read those things sometimes too,
Yeah, and that these were regular people. They're like legends in like the media dichotomy now, but like they were people, they rested, they effed off for a few days or whatever. My wife just called me out. It's like, you need a day off, and I was like, I know, but I can't do it right now.
Rob, I second your wife's opinion. I think you need a day off, but you work hard. You deserve it.
I think we all do. I think we all deserve a day off. But I'm so excited for the new stuff that's going to be coming out. Do you have a next single planned?
Yeah, so I have like 6 or 7 tunes that I recorded in the month of December that are like all about 80-90% of the way there. It just finished today. I just finished 3 mixes, final passes on mixes for that record with Automatic Love. So there's 11 songs on that album total. 2 are out. One's called Where You're At, the other one's called Cherry Red. So the rest of those songs, I expect a single, maybe not next month, but the month after that, and then similarly, and then the record to be out in the summer. So that'll be that project, which is just me and my friend Justin Pelliccio. We were in a band called Satellite Hearts years ago, and he's out on the West Coast. I didn't realize
that was a connection. A connection. That's great.
Yeah, he's out on the West Coast. He lives in Joshua Tree. So that's been a process and learning, just figuring out I've flown out there and like recorded him in the desert and had him over here tracking guitar. Like, we shot like 350 photos the other day because I had him for like 4 hours, and I was like, we got to get like cram a year's worth of photos into today. Like we're doing videos, bring outfit changes, bring a backpack. We're going out, dude. It was cold too. So we were just like out all over Germantown. We're out in the Wisp. We're trying to get shots by the water. We're like, the water looks lame. What do we like train? And then we're like going to, so we're like, dude, it was hilarious. But
did you try to get all the seasons too? So you're wearing like shorts and t-shirts to like match the summer and stuff? You didn't go that heavy?
That would be brutal. It was so cold, dude. Like even like we're using a tripod, and even so we did some shots like on the swings. I was like, oh, this would be cool, like us on the swings. But then, yeah, it was snowy. So it's like, we got to use that footage for something that we release in the next couple months. And anyway, you know how all of this works. This is the inner workings of all of our insanity. So yeah, that's kind of been, that project has been going on for like, we first started recording that in 2020, the end of 2020, 2021. And it was total. I had like a Focusrite and like one microphone, and was showing him some demos that I had tracked on my stuff. And he was like, this stuff sounds great, man. Can we record some of my stuff? Obviously, since then I've gotten the bug, and like I said, that compulsive, like wanting to learn everything took over, and now I'm obsessed with recording.
I love this so much for you because everyone who, I'm not going to put a photo up, but Keaton has an incredible studio in his house. Like the basement is insane. If you're telling me that only 4 or 5 years ago you only had a Focusrite and one microphone, kudos, because you've gone so far, and I'm so pumped for you.
Thanks, man. All the gear, all the drums, all the instruments I've been collecting my whole life. I've always been playing. Someone wanted to give away a Hammond L100. When I was 16, I was like, "Yep, I'll take that." I'll take
lucky
that.
bastard.
So been fun, and it was a school I was teaching at, and he like got a new one. So it's like all the it wasn't even really until I started working on my own recordings and working with some other people that I realized what producers were doing. Like what that job was. You're the guy who's just running the DAW. You're coming up with ideas. You have a good you have a sensibility about music. You have a sensibility about engineering. You have a sensibility about songwriting, right? And you're using all of those, but like you're the guy who's controlling the computer and making everybody's ideas come to life. So I just kind of grew into enjoying it through a few projects that I worked on. And like I said, the self-production thing is still like maybe even the hardest. Right, because passing judgment on your own stuff objectively is difficult. So all this stuff with Justin, Automatic Love, all that record, I'm like rapping. I think like I said, I think today was the final passes of mixes, which is very exciting. Yeah, which means I have sessions the following couple of days with my friends Shug Daniels, I'm doing a song with tomorrow, and my other good friend Dan King, who is one of the frontmen from Stereo League.
Yeah.
I'm working with him on some solo tunes too. So working with them the next couple of days, but after that, the plan is to just like head down on all my stuff and try to round out. I have an excruciating amount of songs on top of that I want to try to record. So I think it's maybe just like picking the 3 or 4 that will make that into the 10, 11 song record that makes sense. And then, then just trying to like keep cruising. And I feel like it's a momentum thing, especially with like putting stuff out and mixing and doing all this stuff. It's so much work. It's easier when you're like in the swing of it and you're just like, cool, I'm going to go do this thing. And then I'm going to go do this thing. We're going to get some pictures and cool. And then I'm going to get my friend to master it. And, and so I'm just trying to keep putting one foot in front of the other.
I think that's amazing. And you're inspirational, bud.
Thanks, Rob. You too, man.
Of course.
You too. As a drummer who plays and writes music and stepped out from behind the kit, it's like, we are few and far between, and I've definitely been inspired by seeing you over the years. And yeah, still super inspired by all the progress you're making, man. Your stuff's doing awesome. It's really makes me so happy to see.
You're very sweet, man. But I think, and this is just, this can stay between us and everybody who watches this, is I think that we have an interesting way of writing songs, and even just the way we think about music, just because we've played so many different styles and knowing oh, I've done this before, and then you'll mosh it with something else you've done. And then you create a whole different beast. And I think that we're going to be in the a new age of drummer leaders. I think we're in the beginning of it.
I definitely agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, and there's some great music. Yusef Days and all these other cats like making like. Because there is that world too, right? Like we're stepping into the singer-songwriter world right now too. But I'm like, I write instrumental music. I'm sure you have crazy instrumental music. Like that's all fun too. So,
oh, dude, I've been playing around with just making it a second like streaming account that's just jazz, and I'll have like a different pen name because like I love jazz, but I can't put it out in the same thing. It'll confuse everybody, and B, the algorithms and everything else. But yeah.
It's interesting. It's like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is in regards to all these things. There's an artist I like named Lion's Milk. It might be Lion Milk or Lion's Milk. Found out about him through listening to I was just on a big Brian Eno, Robert Fripp trip, just like listening to all of their esoteric albums that they made together. There was one that was like Sound of Metal or something like that. And this record came on immediately after it. And it just like this artist, it just blew me away. The soundscapes that this guy was making, it all sounded like it was like vintage keyboards and like tapey. And like, it was really, really cool, really meditative, sort of like reminded me of like Sun Ra or something like that. But I checked out the rest of their music and it's all like way more modern jazz quartet sort of stuff.
Really?
So had I not, this is all just playing into the question of like, I don't really know how it works now and like, what is the move? Because like, I'm listening to this artist. I just mentioned his name on your podcast through music that they put out that was like kind of an offshoot of what they actually do, you know? So I don't know. It's just like, it's who are we trying to reach? What are we, you know? And then it is also, you could do the multiple artist thing and just like have another name and
then it's like figuring out, well, who do I focus on, and etc. Yeah.
Well, then it's for me, it feels like a whole nother, like, that's still an extension of Rob Tait.
You're right.
I don't know. I mean, it's if you were like, we're, Led Zeppelin and now we're making a jazz record, I'd be like, well, this doesn't sound like the Led Zeppelin that I signed up for, you know? But it's like, there can be many sides of Rob Tait. There can be many sides. So, but also, again, I don't work for Spotify and I don't know if I was good at that stuff, then, you know, this would be a different conversation, wouldn't it?
But there's multiple sides to you, and I think that it's amazing that what you're able to do just by yourself, and you're making this incredible art. I'm excited to see the rest of it. Do you have any shows coming up that you like to promote?
Not really. No, I'm gigging a ton, playing lots with good friends. I've started recently doing a series at the Fringe Bar, which is really cool. We're doing an open mic and we're doing a jam session. So it's kind of like alternating, posting about that on Instagram if you want to come to that. It is super open for everybody, all levels, all styles, all music.
Was this a Thursday?
It was Thursdays previously. I think we're like working out the dates for the next couple months. It's with Eric Kramer and Will Courier, who obviously plays with you as well. Will's the man. So I think we're trying to figure out the right dates to work for everybody. But nonetheless, that's something that I'll be doing monthly and maybe even weekly. But that will be a cool place to link and share some songs. And similarly, I'm trying to come to your Fat Lady one soon as well.
Oh yeah, I haven't really even announced it on here, but yeah, I just started the Fat Lady open mic, and last week was the first one, and it went really well. Let me know if you ever want to feature on one of these weeks, and then you can like play like the new stuff or anything that like a single release or something like that.
I would love that, man. Yeah, absolutely. And I got some wheels in motion trying to figure out the next steps for my stuff. So once I have a single idea in mind, I'll reach out. That would be awesome.
I got you. And we do have a keyboard there that if you don't want to bring anything, it's just you're going to show up.
Love it.
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for hopping on Let's Take a Spin, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob. I really appreciate it too, man. Love what you're doing here. And yeah, it's so awesome to have a place to chat about this and our community. And also in listening through the other podcasts, I really enjoyed everything that you're bringing to the table, man. It's really cool.
Thank you, brother. I just like hanging out with everybody in this scene. It's so much fun, dude. And I can't wait to see you in person and not just online.
Likewise, yeah.
Shoot. Well, look, have a wonderful day, man. I'll see you soon.
Sounds great, Rob. Talk to you soon, man.